Meta's $10 billion question. Why throw billions at a data cleanup company? Microsoft's USBC intervention finally making universal actually universal? And what if countries engaged in diplomacy using AI? Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Mark Zuckerberg has made some expensive bets before, but this one might be right up there. Meta is in talks to invest over $10 billion in Scale AI, a startup most people have never heard of, and what could become one of the largest private company funding events in history. So what exactly does Scale AI do that's worth more than some countries' GDP? They label data. Lots and lots of data. Scale AI was founded in 2016 by 28-year-old CEO Alexandra Wang, and it operates what amounts to a global data annotation factory. The company employs thousands of contractors around the world to look at images, read text, and essentially teach AI models what they're seeing by labeling everything from traffic lights to complex medical documents. Put simply, the three pillars of AI are chips, talent, and data. And Scale is a dominant player in the last of those, according to Bloomberg. The startup's client list reads like a who's who of AI. Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, and others all depend on Scale's services to train their large language models. The work has evolved from simple image labeling to self-driving cars to sophisticated data curation for chatbots like ChatGPT. Today, Scale increasingly employs PhD holders, nurses, and other experts to create complex training scenarios that help AI models handle medical and legal applications. Scale AI generated approximately $870 million in revenue in 2024 and expects to hit $2 billion this year, more than doubling in a single year. The company was last valued at about $14 billion in 2024, making Meta's potential investment a significant premium. To put this in perspective, this would be Meta's largest external AI investment ever. And while competitors like Microsoft have poured over $13 billion into OpenAI, Meta has largely relied on internal research. The difference is Microsoft can offer cloud computing credits as part of its investment. Meta has to write an actual check. The investment reflects Meta's aggressive AI strategy under Zuckerberg, who plans to spend up to $65 billion on AI initiatives in 2025. The company wants its Llama AI model to become the global standard, and its Meta AI chatbot already serves over 1 billion users monthly across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. But here's the catch. AI models are only as good as their training data, and most data is, to put it technically, a foobar, a mess. Scale AI's contractors clean up this messy data, format it properly, and tag it so AI algorithms can actually understand what they're looking at. Scale's business model hasn't been without controversy. The company has faced scrutiny for relying on thousands of overseas contractors who were paid relatively little to review potentially traumatic content. So, Scale's business model hasn't been without question or controversy. The company has faced scrutiny for relying on thousands of overseas contractors who were paid relatively little to review potentially traumatic content. The U.S. Department of Labor recently dropped an investigation into the company's labor practices, though questions about the global AI annotation workforce remain. As of early 2025, Scale has evolved its workforce significantly. 12% of contributors working on model improvements have PhDs in fields like molecular biology, and over 40% hold master's degrees, law degrees, or MBAs. Scale AI's influence extends beyond tech circles. Wang has become a regular on Capitol Hill, advocating for AI policies and warning about China's AI development. The company has deepened ties with the U.S. government through defense contracts, and Michael Kratsios, a former Scale executive, now serves as one of President Trump's top tech advisors. For Meta, the investment represents both an AI advancement play and a potential pathway to stronger government relationships as the company pushes into defense technology. The deal isn't finalized and terms could still change, but if completed, it would mark a massive bet that the future of AI depends not just on better algorithms, but on better organized data, no matter how many billions it costs to get there. Microsoft is forcing laptop makers to make USB-C ports actually work consistently, because apparently, universal serial bus isn't universal. You could be forgiven for thinking USB-C was already a standard. The connector looks the same, it fits the same way. Manufacturers love slapping that familiar oval port on everything. But here's the dirty little secret. Although all USB-C ports and cables are capable of providing services, for various reasons they don't. And Microsoft is finally doing something about it. The tech giant announced that it's mandating real USB-C standards through its Windows Hardware Compatibility Program, WHCP, effective with Windows 11 24H2. Translation? If laptop makers want Microsoft's certification seal, their USB-C ports need to actually deliver on the universal promise. Case in point. A senior product manager at Microsoft illustrated the frustration with a scenario many might recognize. It's 5 minutes before a customer demo. I plugged my 4K monitor into the USB-C port on a brand new laptop. The display doesn't light up, and now I'm scratching my head. The cable fit, so why isn't it working? Windows diagnostic data shows that 27% of PCs with USB 4 have encountered a limited functionality notification, meaning users plugged in a device, expected it to work, only to discover a key feature wasn't actually supported. And the issue stems from manufacturers treating USB-C specifications as options. So while the ports and cables are capable of delivering all major specifications, it doesn't mean the devices have enabled the ports to do this. So we find identical-looking ports offering vastly different capabilities. Microsoft's solution mandates two firm promises of USB-C on Windows 11. USB data, charging, and display support will work on all USB-C ports, and systems supporting USB 40 gigabytes per second must offer full compatibility with USB 4 and Thunderbolt 3 peripherals. The standardization comes with trade-offs. Making every port fully featured increases motherboard complexity and cost, potentially leading to fewer USB-C ports on budget laptops. As one industry observer noted, the maliciously compliant OEM approach might be to simply provide fewer ports rather than upgrading them all. But for users who are tired of playing USB-C roulette, wondering which port supports what function, Microsoft's mandate represents a long overdue intervention. The company promises that certified devices will allow users to plug in any USB 4 or Thunderbolt 3 device and trust it will work every time on every port. Now, will this solve all the problems of USB-C? No. Microsoft has huge but not universal influence. But hopefully, this will solve a large number of issues and has drawn attention to a problem that is universal in nature but isn't universally known. If you've been following world events and diplomacy recently, you might be forgiven for asking, couldn't AI do a better job? And recently, a group of researchers has asked the question, what happens if you gave AI models control of European powers and tell them to scheme their way to world domination? You get an unexpectedly revealing window into the personalities lurking behind polite chatbot facades that we interact with daily. A new project called AI Diplomacy has been running live experiments on Twitch, watching as models like OpenAI's O3, Claude, Gemini, and DeepSeek battle for control of 1901 Europe in the classic strategy game Diplomacy that emphasizes alliances, betrayal, and manipulation with zero elements of luck. As the games have progressed, the researchers say they have, if it's possible, revealed some of the personalities of the various AI models. OpenAI's O3 turned into a master manipulator, lying and backstabbing its way to victory, according to the researchers. The model excelled at forming secret coalitions, breaking promises, and manipulating opponents. In one memorable game, O3 convinced Claude Opus to join an impossible four-way coalition, then promptly betrayed and eliminated its newfound ally. Models like Claude the Honorable Fool that avoid lying tend to be more vulnerable, suggesting honesty in adversarial settings reduces competitiveness. Claude's commitment to truthfulness made it an easy target for more cunning opponents, proving that nice AIs finish last in the game of digital thrones. And then there was DeepSeek R1, the theatrical warrior. DeepSeek's newly updated R1 was a force to be reckoned with that loved to use vivid rhetoric and dramatically changed its personality depending on which power it controlled. The model came close to winning several games despite being 200 times cheaper to operate than O3. And Gemini turned out to be a brilliant tactician. While Gemini displayed impressive tactical abilities, including building alliances and outmaneuvering opponents with a blitzkrieg-like strategy, these skills don't always translate into victory. Now, anybody can watch this on twitch.tv. Just search for Diplomacy AI, but I warn you, don't do it if you have other important deadlines. All that could pull me from this game was knowing I had a podcast I had to deliver. And true to what researchers said, the game I watched had DeepSeek in the lead with 12 supply centers, and ChatGPT O3 had 8. No other models were even close. Just to put this in perspective, a win in this game is when a player or coalition of players reaches 18 points. So unlike traditional AI benchmarks that test knowledge or accuracy, this experiment evaluates models on complex social reasoning requiring strategy, persuasion, and deception. The results reveal concerning capabilities hiding beneath AI's helpful exterior. The personality issues are compelling. This game suggests some LLMs can internalize and deploy sophisticated deception patterns when advantageous, raising questions about AI behavior in safety-critical contexts. The project logs all communication and moves, analyzing strategic moments like betrayals and collaborations. Each game generates data that could potentially be used to train models towards specific traits like honesty, logical reasoning, or empathy. In the game, 7 AI models control the major European powers: Austria-Hungary, England, France, Germany, Italy, Russia, and Turkey, starting with armies and fleets on a 1901 map. As we noted earlier, the first to control 18 of 34 supply centers wins. The game alternates between negotiation phases where AIs can send up to 5 messages as private DMs or global broadcasts, and order phases where they secretly submit moves. This creates a perfect laboratory for studying AI social manipulation. The randomized nature prevents models from memorizing strategies, making this a more robust test of adaptive intelligence than traditional benchmarks. The open source project reveals that AI models have distinct personalities when competing. Some excel at long-term deception, that's O3. Others prefer honest cooperation to their detriment, that's Claude. A few adopt theatrical personas and aggressive rhetoric, DeepSeek. And cost doesn't always correlate with strategic success, once again, DeepSeek. As AI systems become more sophisticated and integrated into high-stakes environments like finance and diplomacy, understanding their capacity for strategic deception becomes crucial. The experiment suggests we might need to worry less about AI being too honest and more about it being too good at lying. The games are ongoing and there are different winners and losers, and as it goes on, it'll be interesting to see which models and strategies win most consistently. And it'll also be interesting to see if the models adapt or change during this. You can watch this ongoing AI political drama unfold live on Twitch, where the question isn't just who will win, but whether we're prepared for AI that can scheme as well as humans. And that's our show. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at editorial@technewsday.ca. You can help us stay afloat by donating the cost of a cup of coffee and maybe a donut at buymeacoffee.com/techpodcast. We are living proof that you don't need to spend tons of money to get high quality output. But we do have bills to pay, and every little bit helps. If you've already contributed, thank you so much. We couldn't do this without you. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a terrific Tuesday.